Enjoy your meeting.
Area, and hopefully, I think discussions such as this, especially if we can make sure that AMCs and lenders are talking together on this, we can help move the ball forward.
Great, thank you, Helgi. As it pertains to what REVA is doing, we've been engaged with members of Congress as it relates to H.R. 2213. The bill that was introduced recently by Representatives Pierce and Sherman. REVA has been monitoring those closely. The bill would ultimately provide a safe harbor for 30 days, a safe harbor until January 1st, 2015 from TILA-RESPA integrated disclosure. REVA did submit a letter of support to both the bill sponsors, and we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Simultaneously, the Financial Services Committee Subcommittee on Housing and Insurance held a hearing recently where many of the banking issues were discussed. REVA also followed up with the committee with a letter of support for H.R. 2213 and for we were able to lay out our concerns regarding this new rule. Another bill has been introduced, but it has not been given a formal number yet. It is actually known as the Shelby Bill. It's primarily focused on reforming the CFPB and other agencies, but it does seem to have some language in there regarding TRID and would potentially create a safe harbor for up to 300 days. REVA is continuing to keep an eye on that and working with our folks in Washington, D.C. To make sure that we are tracking that as well. Our advocacy and monitoring are going to continue into the future. We will be meeting with regulators, we'll be watching this closely, and we'll be continuing to do things like we are doing now in terms of educating our members and making resources available. So with that, I will go to questions. What you're looking at now is all of the contact information for the folks that we're speaking today. Please feel free to reach out to any one of them. This session is being recorded. We will provide a link to all REVA members to be able to share it with their lender clients or others in their building or in their offices that might benefit from this. So with that, I would like to open it up for questions. I know that we have the phone lines muted. I received a couple of emails with a few questions. If you could use the notes section, that would be great. We can also try, it's a small group, we can try to open up the phone lines as well. But for Helgi and Paige and for Beth, I guess when you boil all of this down, what's the most important one or two takeaways for lenders and for AMCs?
Yeah, this is Helgi. My thought is that the most important takeaway is that I think there's still some work to be done on alignment on August 1. How will each individual lender's loan estimate process work, and then what will the required interaction be between AMCs and lenders to adjust appraiser fees where warranted by the scope of the assignment and so forth. So what's the interaction between AMCs and lenders going to be on appraisal fees that increase after the time of the loan estimate? For me, that would be, I think, where a lot of the heavy, lenders obviously have way more on their plate with the adoption of the TILA-RESPA rules, but as it impacts the appraisal and AMC issue, my gut would be that's where most of the work remains to be done in the coming months.
I'll follow up on that, and it may even be an opportune time to perhaps engage in discussions with lenders with whom you have relationships and raise some of these issues, consider perhaps putting in new policies and procedures and suggesting the lenders, to the extent they don't have any a particular policy and procedure to address the change in specifically related to the appraisal fees and the AMC fees, that you might want to work together and make sure you have a plan in place for addressing these issues and documenting any changes where the fee might go up, and sort of taking it as a proactive measure, taking it in a helpful way to just open up that dialogue before it might happen after August 1st if there's no delay in the implementation, and and at that point, it's more like, what do we do now if you haven't, if people haven't considered these things, in a very careful manner, and so that the surprises won't be there as often. There's always going to be the one-off case that doesn't fit into the policy or specifically into any sort of formal guidance. But if you can develop a game plan ahead of time, that's always helpful.
And this, Beth, just to add to that, I think communication is key. Communication between the lender and the AMC, and the lender's processes are going to have to be changed. It seems to me quite drastically, just based on the 6 simple elements that predicate an application being received. That's a huge one. So I think the lender clients are going to have to understand that and perhaps change their formulas of how they actually receive applications and collect either more information on the onset, or to the other degree, if you collect less, then you've relied on minimal information which does not meet the record retention. So I think communication is what's going to be important here.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Any other observations that you all have as we wrap up our call today?
Yeah, I would just say, Mark, that as we pull together some of these compliance materials that Beth was talking about and make those available to the REPA members, I think whether it's through a separate subcommittee that we start or one of our existing subcommittees that at least for the next couple months, I think REVA could do a lot to just make sure we're continuing the information flow and building upon some of these initial compliance tools.
Great. I'm going to try to open we have a small group. I'm going to try to open the phone lines and see if how that will work out for us. Give me 1 second here.
All guests are no longer muted.
So I've unmuted the phones. Is there any questions that you'd like to ask our panelists? All right. Well, hearing none, just a reminder that we'll have a recorded version of this that you'll have ability to share. I want to thank Paige, Beth, and Helgi for an outstanding job. And it looks like we were able to get everything in under the wire, so you'll have some additional time give it back to you.
Hey, Mark and Helgi, just one thing to throw out too, like aside from questions, I mean, would love it if anyone, especially any of the REVA members or any lenders that called in, if anyone has any additional points that we didn't cover, or additional or different experiences, that'd be super helpful also. But. Must mean we got everything 100% right.
There you go.
Sounds like it.
Well, thanks everyone for calling in.
Right. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Everybody have a great.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.